Welcome one, welcome all. I have some sad news. If you're one of those people out there who's fond of voting for one of the top two evil candidates, you can possibly vote for Democrats or Republicans, or as I like to call them, Republicrats. Same shit. Two cheeks of the same butthole. Um, but yeah, it's quite somber. Um, there's been an attempt to kill the sitting president of the United States of America. Just a few days ago, uh, during a debate, Joe Biden smoked crack with his son, Hunter Biden, and it appears that it was laced with fentanyl. People have started to speculate that he may be showing signs of dementia, senility. Uh, this fentanyl-laced, crack-induced uh, uh, brain farts. That's the technical term. It's technical jargon. Um, yeah, he was appeared to be out of his mind. It's because the crack that he normally smokes for a pick me up with Hunter. That's why Hunter was buying 21 grams of crack rock and showing it off to prostitutes, because he smokes it with the family. That's a family crack pack. And yeah, so it didn't serve him well. So it's looking like there was an attempted assassination of the president. Not just that. I know it's crazy. It's crazy enough to absorb Joe Biden. Someone attempted to kill him. And it was also, it was another time where he stumbled while climbing up to Air Force One. They found out that there was an assassination attempt there. They made one of the steps a quarter inch longer than it should be. And he had already figured out the way to walk upstairs. He has no issues walking upstairs. Obviously, he's the president. You don't make it to the presidency without being the smartest person in the world, or at least in the country. And he's also the fittest person. That's why he'll challenge anybody to a push-up competition, because he's the president. He's obligated to do so. But the attempted assassin lengthened one of the stairs on Air Force One, so he just tripped and fell and made him look incompetent. So yeah, all attempts to make Joe Biden look bad were assassination attempts. There's no two ways about it. If you're not voting for Joe Biden, you ain't black. You ain't Hispanic. You ain't white. You ain't Palestinian. You ain't human. And if you are a robot, you're not a robot. Your AI is bad. So vote for Joe. Oh, and there was also some crazy. I think Donald Trump, he fell or something. He fell on while giving a speech. He looked so incompetent. He fell, cut his ear. It was just redonkulous. How can he's just so senile? That's like actual senility. Joe Biden, his senility is really just fentanyl-based drug products. So these are things we have to hold into our heads when we make that vote for one of these top two evil candidates. Unless you can count to three, vote for anybody but them. Write someone in. I'm also of the belief, because there was people trying to say that Donald Trump was an assassination attempt on him. I find that extremely suspicious. Makes no sense. They just got a piece of his ear. I don't know. I'm a skeptic. I do believe this was meant to solidify the Trump presidency, because nobody's fucking with Joe. And I'm pretty sure all of the people in charge of this country, and that's not the president, they're okay with Donald Trump. He genuflects at the power of Israel. all of the biggest war criminals, all of the most genocidal maniacs in the world. He acts like they're great people, pretends he's a great person, covers up their criminality because he's usually engaging in it. And then he gets this assassination attempt. I think it's just like it's just more so because this was going to be um, the year of third parties, because people see like we've been fear mongered to death about Donald Trump getting to the office. Like he's going to be the worst. He's going to be the worst. We get Joe Biden in. I say we. I mean the people who pretend to represent you and me, the government, because I didn't see one motherfucker with a Joe Biden sticker. But they get Joe Biden in that office, and I am one of those people who thinks Trump is a horrible person. I would never vote for him. I'm like not even just president, just like just him as a person is just not a good person. Right? I wouldn't allow him to watch my dogs. Right? Couldn't babysit, and I wouldn't allow him to pee on me if I was on fire. I'd be like, what am I going to catch? I will never vote for him. That being said, Democrats are worse. This is something it's hard to impress upon people. Right? I have to preface it by saying Donald Trump is shit, but the Democrats are worse. So in 2016 is when it first started. I was like, Hillary ain't shit. Like, oh, so you love Trump? No, I don't like him at all. I will never vote for him. Okay, so it's either Hillary or Trump. I'm like, no, I don't buy into that fucking false dichotomy. I am one of those people who can count above two, and then people's like, oh, well, vote for third party is a vote for Trump. No, a vote for third party is a vote for third party. I don't give a shit if I'm the only person voting. You can't form a line if you're scared to stand alone. So I've always been just like, no way, I'm not buying into that. I was tricked by the Democrats back in 2008. Shame on them. They couldn't fool me again, so it's no shame on me. I thought Barack Obama was going to be bringing health care, all that good shit that he was sweet talking us about. Found out he was full of shit. Never voted for a Democrat again. It's just a no-go for me. You can't convince me. You can't scare me that this other person is so the wolf is so bad that you want to vote for the fox. They have the same menu. I'm on the menu. I can't do that. This is just it does not compute for me. But for the people who did buy into that shit, I got like so much fear mongering. All right. And then 2020, more or less the same shit. We got to beat Trump. We got to beat Trump. He's horrible. Okay. He wasn't a great president. No. But still, I saw Joe Biden. I was like, no, what were y'all telling me? Trump is racist. I can't vote for him. He's racist. And Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. So I get told how to be black by Klan members. He's giving eulogies at Klan members, and he gets to say what's black and what's not. This motherfucker is like, he signed the 1994 crime bill, locked up millions of black people while his son was smoking 21 grams of crack rock with him, probably, more than likely. I would say more than likely. I want to say absolutely. Where do you get a crack addiction like that? You learn it. Maybe, but then again, there's a chance he just picked up crack, to spite his dad because he saw his dad taking showers with his daughter while she was a teenager. Then his son was like, you know what? I'm going to smoke crack because this is my way of rebelling. I don't know. There's a slight chance that happened. But it's a far more likely chance in my mind that Hunter Biden saw Joe Biden smoking crack. And he said, you know what? I'm going to try that too. And Joe Biden illegalized crack for the blacks so the Biden family could smoke it all. That registers as high likelihood in my eyes. Like I said, not discounting the pedophilia that Joe Biden exhibited towards his daughter. I mean, his son did have him in his phone as Pedo Peter. So he could have just smoked crack to like just lessen the harshness of that reality. I am not discounting that. And for all we know, I mean, Joe Biden could be just using fentanyl on his own, knowing it's fentanyl, because that's the primary lubricant for America's economy. It's a fentanyl-based economy. I mean, look at the pharmaceutical companies. They pushed the opioid epidemic. He didn't do anything to control them, to restrain them. So the next step is just like harsher and harsher drugs. And maybe he's just like, you know what, I'm going to get on that, build up my fentanyl tolerance. And in that case, we got like something to be proud of. America has the number one president because he has the highest fentanyl tolerance of all presidents in the world. That's something, you know, something to hang your hat on. You know, that being said, still, he's a no for me. I will never vote for Joe. And I won't be shamed in voting for one of the lesser of two top evil candidates. Yeah, I'm, and for the record, I'm against any assassination attempt against these presidents. I'm all for bringing them to justice. Don't get me wrong. But I think if we are going to be executing them, it should be a democratic process involved. Just like at the end of every presidency, it's just like, was he a war criminal? Do you view this person as a war criminal? Do you think that he engaged in all kinds of illegal activities that personally enriched himself and his family, or herself and her family? And what do you think should be the justice that is brought to them? Should it be a lifetime in prison or decapitation? Should we send them over to this country that they started war in so they get to decide? I'm open to it. You know, I'd like to see a few presidents go into like Iraqi prisons, see the Iraqi people like get to celebrate bringing these motherfuckers to justice. See Syrian presidents like, oh, we got Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. It's a bad impression. But yeah, I mean, that's also how you can de-escalate World War III, especially going nuclear. But what are we going to do? Like, these motherfuckers say they represent us. They're criminal to the core. And we get associated with all of their fucked up shit. All of these wars, I haven't been for any war my entire life. So why am I connected? Why is Joe Biden saying he represents me and my interests as he bombs a bunch of innocent people, commits genocide? I don't want anything to do with that. I want to see those motherfuckers locked up. Let's send them to Palestine. Let the Palestinians figure out what to do with them. Right? That's how you de-escalate. You know, like, you know, I'd like to see most of the motherfuckers who are in Washington sent to Russia. We've been vilifying them like, oh, they have too much control over our politics. Say nothing of Israel. Even though all of their lobbying is legal, motherfuckers should be hung for treason for allowing them to run rapid roughshod over our policies. But we got all kinds of shit. Look at what happened to East Palestine. I think East Palestine, like some fucking Zionist piece of shit, genocidal maniac, like they were plotting out what they wanted to do to regular Palestine. And they were like, you know what? Fuck Palestine. Fuck North Palestine, East Palestine, West Palestine. And then they saw there was an East Palestine in America. And, you know, they just sent a bunch of World War I era chemical biological agents to poison the water supply, killing all kinds of people because they hate Palestinians that much, even if they're American Palestinians. It's just a theory. I'm working that one out. But I'm a bit of a conspiracy aficionado. I like to smell it like a great wine. Taste the robust flavors, swish it around. See what registers is real. There's a lot of bullshit conspiracies that motherfuckers are pushing, like Russiagate, Russia is our problem, when all of our problems are really domestic. And if you could argue, like, yes, there's a European aspect to it, but that's more so the allied countries, Britain, Israel, satellite of Britain, Canada, satellite, Australia, satellite, America, satellite. We all have independence, but yet we're all in bed. We all like fight for the same evil shit. And I say we, I mean the governments that represent us. So it's just like, yeah, lock them up, don't assassinate them. Let's send them to other countries, give them the opportunity to, bring justice to them. However they see fit. They could do the Saddam Hussein treatment. They could give them the Muammar Gaddafi treatment, bayonet them up in the keister. But it's just like we just need a hands off. Like, no, you guys figure out. We don't want to escalate war. We want to be cool here. Here's the people who started war with y'all, started killing y'all people. That does not represent us. You figure out what to do with them. And yeah, if y'all throw them in jail, we would love the ability to visit them. I'd love to visit a lot of war criminals and just talk shit to them. Maybe like read some of the diary notes from the people who they killed, like their last moments, like the bombs are coming. It's them, George Bush. And just like really just like reiterate their sacks of garbage, human garbage. And I mean, and I would love it just like once they get, convicted of war crimes, all of that money means nothing. It's just like you don't have money for lawyers. You don't have money to throw on your books. You get the same bullshit. You get some toilet paper flip-flops in prison. They melt when you try to take a shower in them. You get the slipperiest of soap. You get the biggest, burliest of roommates watching you shower, watching the soap sparkle all over your body. Motherfuckers just like take me to jail, throw away the key. I ain't afraid to fuck another man in his ass. To quote, don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. Just spitball. Because it does. I mean, I do like seeing people brought to justice. Donald Trump's style justice of potentially being shot in the head. Like I said, not against execution, but it's got to be democratically chosen. Like once we decide, and this is every president. At the end of Joe Biden's presidency, we should be able to look at his policy. Be like, no, he engaged in genocide. He did all this illegal shit. I want to see him locked up. I want to see him deported. I want to see him executed, whatever. It'll be like, first, is he guilty of being a war criminal, sack of shit, tool of the politicians? Did he have meetings with lobbyists? Lobbying should be illegal. We should have all non-disclosure agreements abolished so we can like really get to hear what they're saying and just like really like have a full understanding of their criminality. Then we decide what to fucking do with them. All right? Is it execution, life in jail? Let's be civil about this. But yeah, I think we need to include other countries because that's how you build rapport with them. I ain't got no smoke with no Chinese people, no Russians. Whoever the media tell me to hate, I do the exact opposite. I hate the people who try to divide me from the potential allies in the revolution. So you are the problem. And I would like everyone to understand, like Trump, he's, say what you will about him. I mean, I think the media may be just targeting him just because, I mean, that they don't mind him winning the presidency. But whatever the case, you should hate the media more because they build him. They build all of our villains. They build all of our heroes, people pretending to be heroes. Then they cast these narratives that get you to root against your own best interests. And we need to shake free of that. Giving me 2013 Nate vibes. That's before censorship. I thought I'm saying some shit that'll definitely get me censored. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know how I should take that. Employee evaluations were peaked with a yellow subscribe pillow in the background. Oh man, I kept that for so long. Then I ended up, because YouTube switched into a red subscribe thing. Someone sent me a red subscribe pillow. Yeah, I just don't want anything to do with YouTube. I would like to be a part of their downfall. I'm happy to see all of their engineers speaking up against them, standing up against them, even losing their jobs and getting arrested to try to throw a monkey wrench in the war machine. Man, I would love to meet one of these people to talk about the system that YouTube established, because it is disgusting, the shit that they have created. They silenced me. It was like misinformation, really malinformation, information that's true that they don't want people to hear. Because everything I said that got me silenced ended up being proven to be right, right? Especially about me questioning medicines that Google was directly invested in, that they were silencing people for criticizing. That's illegal. That's a racket. That is like literally a fucking racket. They steal our money. They create these fucking obtuse systems that are designed to keep you in the dark about all of the evil shit they're doing. All of, how these things don't work. They say they get everyone to pair it, like, oh yeah, take it. They're directly invested in it. They shut down people who are just like, oh, look at the myocarditis, look at all these heart issues, look at these blood clot issues. It's just a surprising amount of surprise deaths. What's going on? You can't do any of that shit. First time, it's just in my lifetime, you can't question it. And it's more and more people question it because they're feeling the effects of it. And they took down 3 of my channels for that shit. And then everything I said was right. I like all this stuff they said about, like, oh, you take this medication, you can't spread it. Turns out they never did any testing to see if it could spread or not after taking it. It's just, they're full of shit. They need to be locked up. And I'm talking about the people who run it. And that's the government, because it was started with government money. So yeah, lock them up. Lock up their candidates. That includes Joe Biden. That includes Donald Trump. All of that shit. Your humor inspired me at the age of 13. You're my hero for honesty and your comedic sense. Well, I think getting a platform is a responsibility. I start to understand that better as I saw how my unintentional misusage of the platform led to people getting harmed, and it was just like effects I didn't want. So it's just like me consciously making that switch. That's when I jumped in the firing line, because I was also being pushed down a certain path to create certain content. And then once I broke free of just like all of the influence, I mean, I still had to like interact with some of the people, but like I just was like, you guys do what you want to do. Let me figure out my own series and stuff. And well, I should probably make a longer video explaining some of the shit that Full Screen did. Full Screen, not just Full Screen, it's other production companies, but mostly Full Screen, especially after they got acquired by AT&T. But yeah, once I started to like break free from all that stuff, that's when I started having the most problems with my content, and eventually my shit got shut down. Then, but it's just like you got to be able to take that stand. And it's just like, sometimes it'll take, because my first channel got taken down 10 years ago, 2014. And a lot of the shit that I was on to back then, people are just now catching up to. So it's just like, I mean, would I rather be right or be effective? Obviously, I'd rather be effective. But, like I'm talking about going against these gigantic corporations who have the ability to prop up anybody, shut down anything, and then they create fake imitations. So, you know, by the time my largest channel was taken down, it was like, most of the people who were there, I was the only person they were subscribed to. So it's just like it was just like I was the only person they showed up to YouTube for. So that's why they took me out like the way they did. It was like super just quick, and it was just hard to keep up with, you know. Unless someone was like coming to my shit every day, I made a few videos. Even the people who did, like, people were getting unsubscribed without doing it themselves. Even if you were subscribed, like, they would hide my videos. So like me talking about, like, you know, the issues I was having, it was just like, yeah, so a lot of people missed it. So people don't even, I ran into multiple people. They just like, I used to follow your stuff, Nate Falls. What happened? They had no idea what happened. So it's just like, yeah, it's designed the way the way it is for a reason. Um, yeah, and now it's just like for you to get on, like, all of the major channels, they're owned by corporations, and all of the people who you see on the screen, they're interchangeable. They don't write their shit. They read lines. A lot of the time you don't see their name. Matter of fact, it was one company. Met some people. They were at an event reporting for the company, and at no point in the video is their name mentioned. They asked if they can have their other channels, their personal channels included. They were like, nope, 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 because they want you to be super replaceable. Yeah. So, and that's why we see the movie industry going the way it is. Everything is a sequel, prequel. It's all of these companies. They buy up the intellectual property rights, the shit they didn't invent. Then they rely on people to just want to see it just for nostalgia's sake. Oh yeah, I'll watch the new Spider-Man. They're gonna relaunch a new one. You know, the fifth one this year. It's the fifth Spider-Man with an entirely different spider person. It's just like now he's a transgender spider or whatever the fuck their whole thing is. But it's just like um, they can replace the actor, replace the director because you're coming for the intellectual property. That's why I don't watch any of that shit, garbage. That's how you kill independent creators. Like, you want to see people taking a chance on something, not following some formula that made them money in the past. That's just like, it's not fulfilling. It's garbage. But yeah, that's pretty much every industry though. Looking back on your content, do you reminisce on the trip to Vegas with your dad, story time, etc.? Any videos you still have in the vault? I mean, there's a lot of videos I miss. I had like old videos. My nephew, when he was super young, pretending to be me. Thought that was adorable. Um, that shit was taken down. I mean, yeah, I still got some of the videos of my dad, like some of our trips. That's always it's always touching. Um, yeah, but you know, it's fun. You know, I used to go down, like, when I had old videos, like a longer catalog to go through. I would be able to like go through different parts and phases of my life and, you know, have that ability to reminisce. But now it's just like I got like a bunch of stuff I still haven't uploaded. A lot of employee evaluations. But I'm gonna do something different with that. Um, yeah, but yeah, it's you know, still got some reminisce worthy videos, but you know, just a small fraction of what I lost. What's the best alternative to YouTube that's just as successful and possible to find? Well, I've been using Rumble. Rumble, I've been fortunate enough to not have anything taken off that I know of. I mean, I'm not saying they're not censoring me in any kind of way. I mean, there's a chance of that. YouTube was doing some shadow banning on my channel before they took it all down. But I made sure the first video I wrote, because I heard about the platform from Glenn Greenwald. He is a journalist who I respect a great deal. He helped with the Edward Snowden revelations when he was exposing the depravity of the CIA, NSA, and all of our intelligence agencies. So yeah, he recommended it. I checked it out. First video I uploaded was something that YouTube was taken down, even though it was a senator. It was Rand Paul, and he was questioning some of the protocols surrounding certain cold-like illness. And yeah, so I posted that, and if you posted it on YouTube, it would immediately be taken down. So Rumble kept it up, and then I just started uploading a lot of my controversial stuff. Motherfucker, I remember one of the last strikes I got on YouTube was me just talking about the premise of a movie. It was a rewind I did for zombie, what is the Brad Pitt zombie movie, World War Z. Right, I was just talking about the premise of it, because the premise of it, they went to World Health Organization because they had the zombie outbreak, and they went for their vaccine was a deadly concoction of ailments that would have the person near death whenever they took this vaccine, but they said it would help with zombieism, and it was made almost 10 years before COVID. And I didn't even have to mention COVID. I just was like, yeah, World Health Organization, deadly vaccine. Me just talking about that was one of my final strikes on YouTube. But it's still up on Rumble. Same with Spawn. You know, I broke down the plot line because in the movie, the main character ends up getting killed by the government. He was a murderer for the government. The government turned on him, but one of his last jobs was to release a biological weapon on Korea or China, or one or the other. I think it might have been China, but yeah, because it was in Beijing. And I was like, wow, this just seems weird. And that shit came out in 1997. So I can't even touch these subjects, even though it seems like they're preparing us for what we ended up experiencing. So, yeah. Rumble so far. And I also have a broader catalog. Like all of my stuff from YouTube was uploaded to Odyssey, odyssey.com/@Nateflix. And they got the whole Nateflix back catalog from YouTube, all of the public videos that I had. So you can check that out. Were you dealing with corrupt sponsors at the time? Full screen. I forgot the situation with that. I mean, yes. I mean, corrupt sponsors, all sponsors are corrupt. I mean, I found different websites that have like different policies. But yeah, I used to go to one particular website. This was after full screen because, you don't play ball with them, which I just stopped doing. Yeah, they fuck you over, and they work with AT&T to do so much shit, including canceling contracts I was about to sign to work with Netflix. But yeah, I ended up going to it was a sponsorship website where I could find like my own sponsors. We could agree to terms beforehand, and then I make the video and get paid. Woo, good stuff. Except for the fact that they got bought up by Google. And then Google, I mean, now they shut down entirely. But before that happened, like they had all this criteria that had to be met. Like I had to get the approval of the company I was doing the sponsorship before I got paid. Like they had all this stuff, like you have to mention it first 30 seconds or last 30 seconds or whatever the fuck it was. And I would meet all of this stuff, but then they made it so you couldn't be critical of their product, even if it broke on me in the first week of me having it, which happened multiple times, right? So it's just like, like I had phone chargers, cases, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, well, kind of cheap, broke on me. And they were like, you can't mention that. You have to take it down, do all this stuff. And I needed the money for fucking rent. Rent was due. And it was just like, I was banking on having this money before a certain time. And then I had to like rush it. So it's like, how I ended up settling that was like, I re-edited it, which took extra time to take the stuff out. Then I ended up posting it. And then as soon as I got paid, I took the shit down. And then I was getting like notifications like, you can't put in for another sponsorship till you make this right. I ended up just saying, fuck it. I found another sponsorship website, started fucking with them. And I also got independent sponsors, like people emailing me. And so I ended up stepping away from that. And then FameBit is what it was called. Then they ended up, just going like Google just got rid of everybody. So you go to the website, it's just like, it says what it used to be or whatever. And then I guess they broke it up because, like they need total control of the narrative. So the sponsorships, the revolution will not be sponsored. Wow. I noticed your swag has changed from your early videos. What inspired the change from fitted caps to the new look is undeniable. Well, I used to look at my dad wearing old man caps, as I used to call them. Then after he died, I got some of his old stuff, started wearing it. Then I just started like getting my own, flipping my own, adding my own flair and whatnot. And then I started getting hired as a designer for, haberdashery clothing. And then it's just like I started getting access to the tools to make my own stuff. Now it's just like, why the fuck not? I got the SNCC represented, president of SNCC, merged with the Black Panthers, got to meet several Black Panthers and other revolutionaries. And they recognize the iconography. So it's just like, it's my call to my people. And it's just like, you got to dress the part. Some classics, wish we could get back in that catalog. Me too. Elephant in the room. What are your thoughts on Trump assassination attempt? I'm against any individual trying to assassinate a president. Even if that individual works for, one of our 3-letter agencies, CIA, FBI, NSA, whatever. I'm against it. I don't give a shit if Trump is garbage. Trump is horrible. Yes, I will never vote for him. The Democrats are worse, right? I do think they should be brought to justice. I'm not saying they should be executed. I'm just saying I would like to see a democratic process around how they're brought to justice. First, like, can we agree they're war criminals? Can we agree that they should be locked up? Can we agree that the people who went to Epstein Island and funded all this shit, like, should be thoroughly investigated? People who took money from these lobbyists, people who have non-disclosure agreements. Can we agree that this shit is criminal and illegal, and whatever laws they constructed to like protect themselves, they should be abolished? I think we can all get on that page. And then once we get rid of all of their protections and we start saying, you know what, one person can't have more money than an entire nation, then they'll be easier to bring into the justice system. And then once we agree, like, okay, these acts are criminal, and we have like understanding, of the country we want to build. I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't. However, if like 51% of my countrymen and women, they like, you know what, I don't agree with the death penalty for the most part, unless you're a war criminal. and then we confirm that Genocide Joe is a war criminal, or Zion Don Trump is a war criminal, Barack Obama is a war criminal. We agree that they're war criminals, and they don't roll over on their puppeteers, you know, because I feel like there could be leniency if people are like, okay, no, I was just following the orders from this cabal over here, these evil people who you never hear of. I was just following orders from them. I mean, yeah, they should definitely do time, but yeah, but once we just like we find you're the most despicable of the most despicable, a true psychopath, someone who should be just taken away from society, I'm for jail. However, if my countrymen and women decide execute them, send them to another country, as long as it's an actual democratic process, I'll allow it. You know, if you know, I think at the end of every president's term, we should be like, okay, how did he serve you or she serve you? Is this a criminal? Is this someone who should be locked up? Do you think that they were working with lobbyists against your interests? Okay, let's lock them up. Or if most of the country agrees that they're beyond salvaging, let's talk about something else. But it's got to be democracy. It shouldn't be one lone gunman. I mean, one lone gunman is sketchy as a motherfucker. That's just, for me, it's just like, okay, obviously it's some bullshit. There's some trickery afoot. Are you voting this year? Thoughts on America 2025? Or this fearmonger people are talking about if Trump is reelected? I mean, I think a lot of the fear around Trump is people's imagination. Because I lived 4 years under Trump, 4 years under Biden. Biden is worse. Trump was not good. Trump was horrible. Biden is worse. And then, like, I knew he would be worse because he has a long a lifetime of just being on the wrong side of every issue, whether it's war, what to do with our criminals, who we define as criminals. Joe Biden, he's on the Klan side. That's why he gives eulogies at Klan members. Yeah, so it's just like the people who I met who are just like, oh, but Trump is so much worse. I'm like, dude, you know, Biden is giving eulogies at Klan members. You know, he signed the 1994 crime bill. You know, his son is smoking 21 grams of crack rock on camera as he locks up black people. Yeah, but Trump would be so much worse because he's Trump. And this is like the logic. It's like Trump bad, yes. I'm not voting for him, right? But when I say something bad about Joe Biden, they assume, oh, so you like Trump. This is just, it's crazy. But now it's like, it's a switch happening because more and more people are like, fuck Joe Biden, even people who voted for him before. So now when I say something bad about Trump, they think I'm supporting Joe Biden. So it's just, I think it's just hard for people to hold multiple ideas in their head, especially if they're not given to them from authoritative news sources. That's why I called that shit out. As soon as YouTube started saying they were propping up authoritative news sources, I was like, red flag, that ain't right. Something's wrong. Sure enough, I mean, like I said, I didn't get cut from YouTube because I was lying to you motherfuckers. I got cut from there because I saw shit that they didn't want you to see. And it's just like, all it takes is just some common sense to just say, look over there, that person's robbing you. That person is hurting you. And then, you know, it just all starts to make sense. But yeah, I'm against the Trump derangement syndrome, as I've heard it referred to as. But as for voting, I'll probably, if I vote, it'll be for the last presidential candidate I voted for, Jill Stein. But revolution is not a spectator sport. You don't go in and vote and then just like the world gets better. You know, if it's Donald Trump and Joe Biden to make the world better, even Jill Stein, like I believe truly that she would want to see shit get better. But it's a whole system in front of her to prevent that from happening. So voting is not the answer. It's getting engaged. You know, the true cost of freedom is eternal vigilance. So we got to get involved. That's why I brought SNCC back, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, largest civil disobedience movement in the civil rights era, merged with the Black Panthers, radicalized Martin Luther King. So it's just like, you know, they got this history that I think we need to tap into because we need a revolution. Look at all of the advancements that happened in this country. It wasn't because we had a leader. It wasn't Abraham Lincoln who ended slavery. It was a movement. It was multiple movements converging, forcing his hand. Same with FDR. He didn't give us the 8-hour work day, the 40-hour work week. We had movements. And everything we fought for, they fight to take away from us. So it's just like we need these movements. We need to stop thinking that it's going to be a fucking Donald Trump or Joe Biden presidency to save us. That's not how democracy works. You don't believe in the death penalty in the instance of rapists or serial killers as well? Like I said, if I'm against the death penalty for a president, I mean, I don't believe it should be applicable to rapists and serial killers, since our presidents are the biggest rapists and serial killers. Just look at the fucking Jeffrey Epstein flight log. I think best thing we could do, lock them up, videotape them being locked up. Make sure they're not like getting off, like literally sometimes, but like getting off easy. You know, like got some glamorous. I want to see them like have some big burly motherfucker who they created a system to oppress, and then who woke up to that impression, but then they still also killed like 50 people and raped them, and then they're locked up with like a Bill Gates, Anthony Blinken, Joe Biden, and then they're like, oh, you the motherfucker who sent me in here. And then the shenanigans that ensue that, like an awakened criminal who's capable of all kinds of stuff running into an even bigger criminal who never thought that they would be arrested because they were creating the laws, right? And then, you know, what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Or let's say a big burly poor criminal meets a billionaire who never thought they'd be in jail and their booty hole is vulnerable. I don't know, but I feel like that would make good television. I would like to see all of these war criminal, rapists, serial killers who come from billionaire backgrounds, who are buying up politicians. I want to see their lives turned into a reality television show. I don't know how many times I have to say it before it actually happens, but it would be the best reality TV program. Even if they like just get on probation and they have all their money stripped away from them, right? And they're relying on like the federal minimum wage. And then once they like get on camera, getting their first overdraft fees, and they start crying, and then they try to kill themselves, but then you took away their shoestrings, so they can't kill themselves. So they have to suffer in poverty because they can't endure the basic shit that we've had to live with for our entire lives. I want to see that, where they want to kill themselves, but they can't. And just like, do you think if any of these motherfuckers had didn't have billions of dollars, like they would have any interaction with humans? Do you think anyone would want to talk to them if they weren't depending on these rich assholes for a salary? No. And I want to see when people just start spitting in their general direction, stop pretending they're nice. We know they're poor. We know they're war criminals. I don't know. That's just a dream of mine. And you may say I'm a foolish dreamer, but I beg to differ. I'm a visionary. I can see it happening. It's going to happen. The pendulum just keeps swinging. Is that a sex thing? I don't know. Trump is keen on mass deportation of thousands of families who've been refugees over the last 4 years. Is that realistic? And what are your thoughts on immigration? Okay. My thoughts on immigration, our whole immigration program is set up to benefit corporations, right? If we really gave a shit about immigration, making things right, we should, instead of like targeting the people who are immigrating from us bombing their countries, destabilizing their governments, and then they come here because they're like, okay, my resources came here, so I'm gonna move here too, because that's y'all still in our shit. So y'all, I'm just gonna come over here and make a living here. If we actually cared about making shit right, instead of targeting these people, which leads to slavery, it's just like when it was a dude, Lucky Luciano. He was in charge of whores in Chicago. And he was working, he bought up a bunch of police. He created a bunch of laws around prostitution that protected him while making the prostitutes more vulnerable. So they couldn't go to the police if like some John robbed them or beat them or whatever, because they'd be arrested. So it incentivized like the bad actors to just get away with murder a lot of the times. That's why prostitution is one of the deadliest jobs you could have, because the laws don't protect the prostitute. All right. So it's similar around immigration. So the immigrant, they move here, they get a job working for one of these corporations. And a lot of the corporations hold them in slavery. They like say, oh yeah, we'll give you this job, we'll pay you this amount, and then they never pay them. And then who are they going to run to? They start to threaten the immigrant with calling ICE on them. Like, we're gonna call immigration on y'all if y'all try to get brolic. And so the immigrant is fucked over. It's just like, first you started off by not paying me. Now, if I just keep asking questions, you're gonna call and have me deported, throw me in some fucked up jail. And how does that benefit us? We should have a whistleblower hotline for these immigrants who are like saying, oh, this corporation just robbed me. And then we go after the corporation for bringing in the immigrant. And then we put the corporation out of business, right? Because I don't think corporations should own property, residential or business. Residential, it should be no profit incentive in it. Because then you have corporations with unlimited money buying up all the property with no intention of selling because they want us to own nothing and be happy. And when it comes to business, instead of giving all these corporations subsidies to the tunes of trillions, we should be subsidizing locally owned worker co-ops. So the workers own it. So it's just like priority is to the people in the community. And if they have such demand for their business, then yeah, they probably could bring in immigrants, because it's like, oh, we don't have enough people to fill all these jobs. And they can bring in people from out of town, out of state, or out of country. But that's after the business is booming. Right now, when they bring in all these low-paid workers, it's just a bunch of money going to the richest people in the world who are already robbing us. Yeah, and they have no design on giving that back to the workers. So yeah, fuck them. We need community back to empower those movements. Absolutely. I'm going to call ICE if you try to get brolic. Yes. Joe Biden constantly blame inflation on multiple comment sections I've seen. Is there any truth to that? And what caused inflation and spike in house essentials. I mean, you could quick answer for what caused inflation: greed. Long answer: we put all of the money in the hands of the most worthless people, and they printed so much that they made our money as worthless as they are. They contribute nothing to our economy. They just extract. They hide their money in overseas tax havens. They get people like Jeffrey Epstein to handle their money. Then they take our tax dollars, hide it in other countries, pay another country our tax, and it's usually Europe. Ireland's a popular destination. A lot of British colonies, because they're not loyal to us. And every decision they make, it benefits them personally, financially, but it hurts them as well as the rest of the country in the long term, because what do we have here? We have a fictitious capital-based economy. Our economy is on fire: finance, insurance, real estate. That's when your economy is not producing anything. All of the people at the top are just like clicking ones and zeros, moving stuff into different areas, but nothing is actually created. But you have like a rent paying class that they're being extorted constantly when they have nothing. That's why I said the goal is for you to have nothing and be happy. Thought on millions being transferred to Ukraine to fund war and the American dollar being devalued by China and Russia. Well, you probably aren't aware. I'm going to be one of the newest members of BRICS. It's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Well, it's going to be BRICS. It's going to be Brazil, Russia, India, Nathan, China, and South Africa. They're building a competing currency, or it's really just a way for them to exchange goods using their own currency, keeping the dollar out of it. We also got rid of the petrodollar, or Saudi Arabia did. The contract that was signed in the 1970s lapsed. They did not pick it up. So yeah, the dollar is about to be in free fall. It's reminiscent of Germany's economy after the Treaty of Versailles was signed. Then people had to take wheelbarrows of Reichsmarks down to buy a loaf of bread. Yeah, our currency is hooked to nothing but imagination. And war. It's a wartime economy. It's created by the British. I got precious little time related. I'm about to be cut. But yeah, UK reign, or Ukraine. It's really the UK reign, because you look at, like I said, all of the biggest troublemakers in the world, they're colonies of the British, right? Boris Johnson went into Ukraine after they had worked out a peace treaty with Russia, and he shut that whole shit down. And we back up everything they do. And it looks like, oh, maybe they're following the Americans, because we're the ones with the military. But they're the ones with the healthcare. We spend all of our expenditures on a military that benefits them, that doesn't do anything for us. It causes more suicides than anything, because people who join the military for a house education, they get moral injury. They can't deal with what they did, so they kill themselves. And we're going bankrupt to fund all of these wars that don't benefit us at all personally. So yeah, it was designed this way. We need to shift away from a wartime economy. Like I said, lock up all these war criminals, people who benefited from it. They are the bad guys. Don't hate the countries they tell you to hate. Hate the criminals who divide you from everyone. They want you divided from your neighbor. They want you divided from all Chinese, Russian. They want you to view everyone as some monolith. Yeah, and don't fall for it. What are your thoughts on the invasion of the Capitol, and was Trump responsible for inciting an attack on the Capitol? If you're talking about January 6th, that's the government. Yes, it's more FBI than anything else. But yeah, it's just all divisive hogwash. Don't fall for it. Love y'all. I got less than 5 seconds before they cut me, so I'll holler later. Peace.